You're listening to the Career Plus Life Catch-Up, episode number 39. Welcome to the Career Plus Life Catch-Up, a show anchored in reality to help you create a balanced life where you enjoy both your work and your life, because you don't have to choose. I am your host, Cecile Ferry, a corporate executive turned coach and working mom. This is your place for insights, advice, and tools to optimize your career direction, balance, and confidence. I'm so glad you're here. Let's get into it. Hello, beautiful people. Thank you for being here today. I wanted to say how much I appreciate you listening. Well, the last 7 days have certainly been challenging here. Let's be honest. Life on the outside is pretty tough at the moment. We're having a lot of restrictions in Australia. Homeschooling my daughter has been anything but easy. I miss my friends and I miss all those things I really love to do that bring me joy that I can't do right now. And I know I'm not the only one. So what I'm doing instead is to try to dig deep into my inside world. Like remembering who I am, what I like, and giving that to myself however I can. And that's all you've got when things on the outside are rocky. You. So for me, it's doing this podcast. It's coaching my clients. It's doing walks, yoga, tapping into anything that lights me up. So more than ever these days, if you can relate to this, you need to dig deeper into those things that make you alive and being intentional to do them. Because the rest is hard enough, isn't it? So remember your passions and what makes you happy inside. That's my little love note for this week. Now on to today's topic. So if you have been following me for a while, or if you know me, you will know that I am highly passionate about personal development. I fell into it when I was on maternity leave, somewhat about 8 years ago. And I have never stopped since. I have read many books. Okay, I would admit I have a shopping addiction here. And I consume a lot of podcasts and articles on all sorts of personal development topics. Call myself an actual personal development junkie. But it's not just a passion, it's actually aligned with a core strength of mine, which is being a maximizer, which means striving for excellence in myself and in other people. If you're interested in learning more about your own strength, go and check out episode number 3, and I'll link it in the show notes. So after years of binging literally on personal development, I literally have now what I'll call an encyclopedia of knowledge in my head that I constantly draw onto and that also constantly top up. I draw on it in my client sessions, in this podcast, with my friends, and in my own journey. It's like my brain is organized into all those little folders, and then when a topic or a query pops up, my brain searches through the index card and boom, brings up that little specific piece of knowledge. I find this super cool, and sometimes we don't realize we have a specific amount of knowledge into something because it's so intangible, you don't see it, but it is such an asset. So, little side note here, I'm going on a tangent, but where do you have maybe some of that body of knowledge that you overlook and is actually incredibly valuable? Back on track here. So I decided for today to give you a powerful shot of personal development knowledge, like a strong espresso, like a crash course, and to basically summarize hundreds of books into 5 top lessons. I know this is daring and this will feel quite general and quite macro to most of you, but you can take it and you can apply it to a very specific problem or question in your life or career right now. I've also seen how the more I read, the more I see many authors saying the same thing, just in different ways. So there are some foundational truths about how to develop and grow your life. I see them again and again. And that is what inspired me to do this podcast and to list the main ones and to unpack them for you at a very high level. If you've never read a personal development book before, this will be the best intro ever. And for anyone else, this will save you reading hundreds of books. You literally just have to listen for 30 minutes. You're welcome. How good is this? So sit back and enjoy, my friends. Let's get into the 5 biggest lessons in personal development. Lesson number 1. Life isn't supposed to be easy. Sorry to start with this non-rosy statement. Personal development, or self-help, as some like to call it, sounds so positive, so uplifting at first sight. You pick up a book to grow your confidence, have the best relationship, become rich, expand success in your career or life. But what I've learned through countless books is that life is a mixed bag of constant positives and negatives coexisting at the same time. But we've been sold a dream, and that is what we seek when we pick up a personal development book. Everywhere in the media, advertising, modern consumption, all those things tell us that life should feel as close to a vacation on earth as possible, right? We should be happy, have fulfilling jobs, partners who adore us, beautiful homes. We are looking to make our lives as smooth and perfect as possible, frankly. We're searching for that state of bliss where there is ease, flow, pleasure, and joy. But this is an illusion. Life is part pain too, always. Because the pain is necessary in order for us to experience life and to grow. Everybody, if you look around you as well and all your friends, everybody is dealing with bumps on the road. And for some people, those bumps are like full-on cracks or even a canyon that take years to recover from. The journey on this planet is to navigate all of those times, including the tough ones. So the more we try to reject those and develop mechanisms to avoid those bad things at all costs, the more we suffer. And the less we grow and the less we experience happiness. When we saw that life should be easy, 2 things happen. Number 1, when we feel pain, we don't like it, we cannot stand it, and we find ways to escape it as fast as we can. That's what's called buffering. We do things that allow us to feel anything but that negative or pain, and we basically numb. To get back into the easy territory that feels good and normal to us. And frankly, that's just what we want. So when life is not easy, see what is your immediate reaction to buffer or to correct that bad feeling. Some of us, we eat, we drink, we shop, we gamble, we play video games, anything goes. All of this happen because we want life to feel easy on us. And the second thing that happened is that every time we try to move forward in one direction and we see hints of obstacles, challenges, fearful things, uncertainty, we start tripping against those things and it just stops us. It discourages us and we give up before we even try. It feels hard in advance and we don't like hard. And we think the outcome won't be good, because we refuse to go through the process that may be hard in order to get something that will give us satisfaction down the track. So all the books said anything worthwhile requires a level of effort and a level of discomfort. It is normal to go through that. Pain is okay. Pain is part of life. And change is the door to great things. So the sooner we accept that and we open ourselves to all experiences of life, the quicker we grow and reach high levels of happiness. Basically, we need to leave the easy cave. I know we're set up to minimize the bumps and have as happy a life as possible, but it doesn't happen that way. Life is always this contrast, the good times and the bad times. It's just that those things that make up the good or the bad change throughout our life, whatever goes on. So we need to buckle up for the ride and accept the challenges. Granted, it is not being promoted. Nobody out there tells you pushing is good, discomfort is good, fear is great, risk is good. No, everyone is hiding from that and staying into this easy lane of life. So the big lesson here is that hard things are part of life and the doorway to better and greater things for you. Where in your life right now are you resisting hard things? Where are you running away from them, covering them up with something to temporarily soothe you back to comfort? The pandemic is a huge lesson in this too. Life is really anything but easy. And we suffer so much because we want it to go back to normal. We want easy. We can do hard things, and in fact, the books tell us we should. We just don't want to. But success, maturity, growth, and happiness always come after hard things. The sooner you can embrace the idea of hardship being a part of your life, the less you will fear and the more you will open yourself up to opportunities, to callings, to ideas. It's exactly what Susan Jeffers says in her book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Life isn't supposed to be easy, only some of it. And hard is the doorway to more good. Lesson number 2. You live your best life when you are being your authentic self. Most books absolutely align on this one. Be yourself, everybody else is taken is what Oscar Wilde says. We need to celebrate our uniqueness and fully embrace everything that we are, truly who we are. And there are no two other people like you or like me. The books teach you how to get back in touch with your core self, understanding your values, your essence, what lights you up and what brings you joy, your unique strength and character traits, your talents and gifts. Then it is about taking all of that and pouring it into each and every area of your life. Having a job that aligns with your strength and values, having a romantic relationship where you can be fully yourself, having a creative outlet that expresses your uniqueness, having the spiritual life that fits with you. Basically, designing a life that follows the pattern of your own self, your own soul. Many personal development books will teach you how to tap into your own intuition first. They will teach you to hear the whispers, to listen to the hunches within you. So the answers for your life are within you, and that needs to be your only compass. And then once you know deep down what feels right for you, you need to do 2 things. Number 1, have the courage to act on it. And sometimes that involves changing some things in your life, and it can be quite scary. Secondly, you need to disregard other people's opinion. It's about not listening to external judgment, not waiting for validation or permission, being okay with choosing a different path from your parents, your friends, or society in general. So as much as this feels like common sense and it sounds really appealing to focus on us and doing things by us, it's not that easy. You have things like social media that create a vortex for comparison and unification. So being unique and different isn't celebrated or encouraged. You've got to fit in. But the truth is, you have to act in your own best interest and always do what feels right to you. So it means being unapologetically you. This is the whole message of the book by Glennon Doyle, Untamed. So where are you on this journey? Are you clear on what makes you unique? What your true self feels like? And are you living this across the various areas of your life? Where are you putting your true self maybe in a box? Where are you unclear of what your true self wants? These are all very important questions for your personal development. So spend time understanding your values, your strength, your interests, the things that make you you, and start owning them from today onwards. Be only guided by that. And I will finish with a quote from Danielle Laporte that sits right there in my office. Being your true self is the most effective formula for success there is. Lesson number 3. Are you still with me? We all have an ego that we need to learn to live with and not stop us. So by ego, I mean a side to us that is formed of our shadows, our limiting beliefs, our fears, and basically a whole lot of negative thoughts. It's the voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough or you shouldn't have done that. It's your inner critic. If you want to know more, go and check out episode number 4 on it. It's your left brain, that rational mind that opposes arguments to your hunches that we've just discussed in lesson 2. Unfortunately, we cannot be dissociated from the ego. It lives within us. But the books teach us that it is not us. It is just made of thoughts. It is not who we are at our core. The book I'm particularly referencing here in this section is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I'm going to read you a small section. The beginning of freedom is the realization that you are not the possessing entity, the thinker. Knowing this enables you to observe the entity. The moment you start watching the thinker, a higher level of consciousness becomes activated. You then begin to realize that there is a vast realm of intelligence beyond thought. That thought is only a tiny aspect of that intelligence. You also realize that all the things that truly matter, beauty, love, creativity, joy, inner peace, arise from beyond the mind. You begin to awaken. Wow, I know Eckhart Tolle isn't for everyone, but his teachings are so powerful. He explains how our ego, if we let it, will run the show and make up stuff that will keep us small and restricted. The way to silence it, not to remove it, we can't remove it, is to be in the present moment. That is why there are all those books about mindfulness. It's a way to tame that ego mind, to make it shrink as small as possible so we can clearly see what the rest, the more important part of us, our soul, desires. You may be brand new to this ego thing, and that's totally fine. Most of us don't know that until we get into those books or those teachings. So start small. Just start by paying attention to your thoughts. Watch them. Start to identify the voice of the ego within you versus the voice of your inner self. The ego loves making up stories about ourselves, about others, about the state of the world. We have been making them since we were a kid, based on our experiences and what we were exposed to. It is a rigid part of us that is there to protect our identity, to ensure our survival. And we see our ego come up when we're being triggered by something that happens or something someone said. It's that reactive part of us. It can be very powerful in making us shut down or repress our feelings or not do something. Or sometimes the ego takes it out on other people and blaming them. And that's why you may have heard some book talk about when you see something annoying in someone, it means there's a mirror. It means there is something inside yourself that needs to be worked on. And that is your ego. So the work here is to become aware of your ego and how it's currently showing up in your life. Because I guarantee you it is. We all have one. The question is, to what extent do we give it power? What is the share voice of your ego? How much room are you leaving to it or allowing for it to take? How much control has your ego on your desires in your life? If you beat yourself up or feel like you're never doing enough, I can tell you your ego is in full power mode. Meanwhile, your personal desires are being crushed. Once you're aware of it, it is about reducing its impact on your life while still accepting that it is there. Pretty tough. And that's called developing a higher consciousness. And it is empowering because from there, you don't just make automatic choices without knowing why. You make them from a higher place of discernment. The way to do this is to focus your mind on the present, not dwelling into the past and not future tripping either. Being fully present right here, right now, and taking it all in. It stops you from going on tangents mentally, and it helps you align with your true self. It's a practice you can develop on your own, through meditation, through yoga, even playing with your kids, who are a lot more in the now than we are. Lesson number 4. Deal with your emotional trauma in order to move forward. I really like the current trend in personal development where it is now understood that in order to get what we want and to thrive, most of us first need to release some things that hold us back. And in my experience, it's the vast majority of us. It is not a lack of knowledge, it is not a lack of motivation or willpower that holds us back. It is some of the emotional trauma that started being formed from a very young age and has just continued unchecked. And it has shaped our thoughts, especially our subconscious ones. So here I'm going to quote Dr. Joe Dispenza and his book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. I highly recommend this book. He talks a lot about the subconscious because it makes up 95% of your thoughts. In other words, it really drives your results. It's not your conscious mind. Your conscious mind only has a share of voice about 5% in your thought. Isn't that crazy? Wouldn't you want to know what's in your subconscious then? Wouldn't you want to take control and work on it? The books teach us how we can want something consciously, but because of some different thoughts and beliefs living in our subconscious for years, it just won't happen. We won't let ourselves have it. And this is what's called self-sabotage, or what Gerd Hendricks calls the upper limit. When we talk about emotional trauma, we tend to think about the trauma resulting from abuse or a life-altering event. The literature now talks more commonly about emotional trauma that most of us have as a result of the way we were raised, what some teachers said to us, the environment we grew up in. For instance, being constantly criticized as a child creates trauma. Being neglected by a busy parent creates trauma. No amount of positive affirmations, tips and tactics is going to create lasting change when deep down you feel a certain way and have felt that way for years. I have been seeing this in my coaching practice with all of the women I've been coaching. Some had deeper traumas or more layers than others. But we need to go there in order to allow for a transformation on the outside, like a new career. When the trauma is too deep or triggering strong emotions, that is when it might be more appropriate to consider therapy. Those things work together. Because once you clear the trauma, you can build further on your consciousness and you can start taking actions toward your goal. So whatever it is for you, it is such a worthwhile journey to take, to look at, because you uncover reasons why you don't take action or you don't think you know what you want. A great book I recommend here is How to Do the Work by Dr. Nicole LePera. She's also on Instagram as the holistic psychologist. Look, we all have those things from our past that aren't serving us today, but we are usually ready to look into them when they come to the surface and when we frankly want to change in our life. So get the right support. It could be a coach, could be a therapist, to move past those layers of beliefs, and that will change your life, my friend, literally. And it could explain why you, despite attempting to make something happen in your life, you still get the same result. Lesson number 5. Your emotions and personal energy are everything. If you can know how you feel on a daily basis, even on an hourly basis, then you have the keys to mastering your life. Emotions are the ultimate expression of what is going on with us. They are a true reflection of our inner self and cannot lie. They are your language, your messages to indicate what is working and what's not working for you. At the end of the day, your body is the vehicle of your life experience, and it will carry and express what is true for you. It's like everything stops with your body. Whatever you really think about ends up in your body. Many personal development books explain that mind-body connection, and they explain how your emotions must be tapped into in order to read the map, if you like. They explain how you feel within you is the greatest indicator of what is aligned with your true self and what sits with your integrity. And your emotions create a field of energy, literally some vibrations, that then direct your action. It's what will drive you to do or not to do something. And they also create that energetic presence that you have when you show up anywhere. It's that presence, it's that charisma, that influence that you have. Or on the other hand, the lack of. It's really worthwhile paying attention to your emotions and noticing what results you create from which emotional state. The books teach us that all emotions are okay, the negative and the positive ones. But they help you move from negative to positive because that is the key to achieving what you want in your life. Have you noticed how when you are down, you can't seem to take the right step or do something good or achieve a goal? Personal development tells us that we need to pay attention to our emotions and we need to nurture them before we take any action. This is why we talk about how important self-care is. It gives us those positive emotions we need to go and do something a bit challenging. So the work here is to feel your emotions. It sounds simple, but for many of us, it's not because we haven't been taught emotional intelligence at school or by our parents. So sit quietly every day and see what emotions you are feeling and try to label them. And then just sit with them. Let yourself feel them, especially if they're negative. Ask yourself, what do I need right now to feel better if those emotions are more negative than positive? And just go and do that. Looking after your emotional well-being is the key to success. Because when you are feeling crap, you will never do something good, let alone something amazing. So you need to start where you are and gradually work your way through better feelings. And that often means changing the story in your head or letting it go, having a break. Cultivating emotional intelligence is the ultimate secret to achieving what you want, as feelings always precede actions. Wow, that was a lot of content today, wasn't it? I realize now that I've been through all 5 lessons that it is a lot to take in. I told you it was going to be a powerful shot of knowledge. I didn't lie. And just know, I didn't learn all of this in one go. Far from it. It's taken me 8 years. So don't worry if you didn't catch everything. Feel free to replay this episode later or just go back for snippets here or there. See what resonated, and you can go and look at the books that I will list in the show notes if you want to learn more on specific topics. So let me recap here the lessons that you can use as takeaway. Lesson 1, we feel like we want an easy life, but actually we should accept pain and hardship because they're part of life and the pathway to any kind of growth. If we want something, we need to prepare that the process might be hard, but it will be well worth it in the end. Lesson 2. If you do anything, make it to focus on understanding who you really are deep down, what makes you tick, and follow that path, ignoring others and their path. Lesson 3. Learn to spot your ego and let it be by focusing on the present moment. Lesson 4. Get to know your emotional trauma from your past so you can free yourself from its impact on you today. Lesson 5. Cultivate the intelligence of knowing your emotions because they will help guide your choices daily and that will allow you to have the right fuel behind your actions. I hope you found this episode inspiring, enriching, interesting, and that it opened up more doors in your mind. If you like this episode, it would be great if you could leave a review so more people can find it, and maybe share it with people in your circle that you know will enjoy it too. My goal is always to spread more knowledge and help as many women as possible to go for what they desire and have an amazing life. So have a beautiful week, everybody. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to find out more information, you can visit my website at careercatchup.com. There you will find blog articles, free resources, a self-study course for your career direction, and ways to work with me. It's at careercatchup.com. I hope to continue to connect with you and support you. Talk to you soon.